Entire portions of the Stephenville collection have been sold off recently. Let's take a look at the most expensive Lincoln pennies from this $1 million cent collection. The 1911 penny has a tendency to develop carbon spots or tone in unattractive manners if the coins are improperly stored. Add to that the fact that in previous years many unscrupulous dealers would have cleaned these coins to restore the red luster, if only temporarily so, in order to sell them more quickly. So finding a gem-level example free from all of these issues is a treat in today's market. This PCGS graded MS67 Plus example of the 1911 penny was sold at auction for $22,800. One of the clearest examples of an over-mintmark variety coin is seen here, that being the 1944 D over S wheat penny. It is with good reason that it is one of only 2 such variety coins that are currently listed in the Red Book. The remnant of the original S mintmark that was initially struck in here can clearly be seen towards the north of the D mintmark, just below the first 4 in the date. This beautiful coin has been certified by PCGS with a grade of MS67 red and was sold at auction for the sum of $23,400. Along with, I'd argue, the 1955 and possibly the 1972 double-die obverse varieties, the 1969 S double-die obverse is one of the most sought-after varieties in the Lincoln penny series. Easy to understand why, too, when you look at just how wide the spread on these coins actually are. Shortly after the coin's release, there was actually some confusion as the Secret Service mistakenly believed the issue to be a forgery, and in so seized and destroyed a number of coins before the US Mint confirmed that they are in fact genuine. This example is graded by PCGS as MS63 red-brown and saw a closing price at auction of $26,400. The 1922 No D wheat cent is a legendary rarity within the series, and despite being a variety, it is often collected as a separate issue alongside the base 1922 D penny. When a minting error occurred, the Denver Mint's D mint mark was inadvertently removed from a small number of the 1922 D coin. Notably, the reverse of the coin was replaced with a fresh, strong die with crisp details. The last 2 in the date was also then re-engraved, but the D mint mark was not awarded the same courtesy, perhaps thinking that it was unimportant, and in so doing inadvertently creating a scarce variety coin. This example is graded as MS64 brown by PCGS and was able to secure a price of $31,200 at auction. The 1922 D penny, where the D mint mark is actually correctly impressed, by contrast, is a moderately rare coin by the series' standards. Not really that hard to come by with a mintage of 7,160,000 coins. It ranks at the number 12 slot in terms of the lowest mintage coins. Where the coin becomes genuinely rare, though, is in a fully red gem-level coin with a sharp and full detail strike, as most coins seen are circulated or struck with less than an exemplary details from worn-out dies. This coin stands at the very top of the conditional census with a grade of MS66 plus red from PCGS. It sold at auction for $26,400. This is the first and most sought after of the 3 strong and prominent double-die obverse varieties that are easily collectible for the 1936 Lincoln cent, though it is worth noting that a number of more minor varieties are also known. In this case, the doubling can be easily detected on all of the obverse letterings of In God We Trust, as well as the letters of Liberty. It is especially strong on the letters of trust and God. But of course, the date itself is also doubled with sufficient dramatic effect to justify this variety status as a sought-after Red Book listed variety. Graded by PCGS as MS67 Red, it again is the finest known of its type, and at auction it sold for $34,800. 1959 was the first year of issue for the then new memorial design of the Lincoln Cent. In the November edition of the 1959 Numismatic Scrapbook magazine, a claim appeared that some collectors have come to the conclusion that the new memorial design penny was slightly larger in diameter and slightly thinner than the wheat cent used to be. Apparently, they were able to fit 51 pennies into a roll designed for only 50, and then somehow came to this unfounded conclusion that the mint was very quick to refute. Standing at a grade of MS68 Red from PCGS, this is one of only 2 such coins known at this grade point, making it an unmissable opportunity for any serious registry set collector, a fact reflected in the record-setting price of $38,400. In 1915, the US Mint slightly reworked the master hub for the Lincoln obverse. The effects of that can clearly be noted on this coin, with the details of the hair and beard being particularly sharp and apparent. What we have here is one of the finest known of the type. PCGS and NGC combined have only certified 4 coins, with none finer. Little surprise then that this MS67 Red gem example, virtually free from blemishes or imperfections, was able to secure a final bid at auction of $40,800. Each date or issue in the series has its own little quirks that form part of its story. The 1913 penny, for instance, has a reputation for being particularly well struck, and this example of that coin is a prime example of just that. Great details on a fiery red planchet, preserved in a grade of MS67 plus red as certified by PCGS. This coin set a new auction record for the issue at a final price of $60,000. When thinking of rare and valuable wheat pennies, the 1927 is not typically one that immediately jumps to mind. In fact, it is really quite common in all grades. It had a large mintage, and full bankrolls were hoarded by collectors. You can easily get an MS65 coin for probably no more than $120 with a bit of patience and a charming disposition. But this coin is Pop 1, with none finer known. So instead of boring you with another explanation of what a conditional rarity is, let's look at something a little more tangential, shall we? Have you ever noticed that the US Mint changed the design of the number 7 in the date every single decade? Well, it started off in 1917, where the flag of the 7 had a nice little wave to it, just like a real flag. Tongue-in-cheek, I can appreciate that. Then, in the roaring 20s, the 7 had a nice little Art Nouveau jazzy curve to it, with a much more rigid flag this time. By 1937, oh my, things get a bit stretched out. It's the laid-back, lazy 7. By 1947, they finally got it right and gave the 7 a long tail to match that of the 9. Seriously, how did it take them 20 years to figure that one out? And then, 1957 has a very bureaucratic, square 7. But at least the 5 of the date this time has a nice long tail, so that it kind of balances out with the square 1 in front. Anyway, back to this 1927 penny, which was graded by PCGS as MS68 Red and sold at auction for an astounding $84,000. Subscribe to WNN and activate all notifications with the bell icon so you'll know when new videos are released. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you for watching, keep collecting, and have a fantastic day.